Hello, Adam Bell here from Sublime Computer Services. Today I'm going to talk about remote access from 10,000 feet, a very high level overview, the IT perspective and the user perspective. So as you can see, I'm working from home like everybody else is these days. And there are people really want to understand it more now than they ever have before. Okay, so I've also done another video on VPN tunnels of what that is, but so we at Sublime are deploying all of these different methods one way or another with our clients. Um, but I do want to talk about each one and the benefits and really what it is from the IT perspective versus the user perspective, which are always different things. So the VPN tunnel, a virtual private network from a computer to the network in the office. From the IT perspective, we look at that as high risk because that computer is sitting on the network at somebody's home or coffee shop or wherever without strict blocks and checks in place. That user can technically work from anywhere, even on a lousy network. Uh, so there is the risk of putting that computer out there. Now, if VPN's properly configured, the risk is reduced. They have full access to the network. We want to lock the computer down. So that means we want you to use a corporate computer, or if you're not going to use a corporate computer, you're going to have to let us put all of our tools and essentially make your home computer a corporate computer. And then everybody so we don't want to do that. So we want to make everyone use a company computer, which adds cost to the company, which is a drawback for the customer because they may have not needed these laptops for long term, but all of a sudden they're buying a whole bunch of them. So from the user perspective, just talking about the person using the computer, a VPN tunnel can be slow. It can be slow because what happens is if you're going to lock it down right from an IT perspective, if you're going to lock it down and prevent the network on the environment from being a problem, we route all of the traffic. So that means we grab all the traffic and we push it through the VPN tunnel and send it to the network on the other side. That means if you are going to browse the internet while your VPN tunnel is connected, then it's going to send that traffic from your network at home all the way to the office network and out. So it's probably already overtaxed and being, the internet is already being used by all the people coming in and doing VPN, that now you're slowing it down. So what you have to do as a user, if you just want to browse the internet, you have to turn your VPN tunnel off. And a lot of times people will forget that. So from the user perspective, it's slow. It's inconvenient because before they can get started, they've got to establish a VPN connection. VPN connections can be problematic if you just have a poor connection. If you're on a bad Wi-Fi, if you're on a MiFi, those things are if a MiFi has a tendency, if it's on the edge of something, to lose packets, to lose its internet connection. And if it loses its internet connection, the VPN tunnel has to be reestablished. So that is really inconvenient to the user. And from the user's perspective, if they have VPN access on their home computer, they are concerned that the administrators can have full access to their files and internet browsing and everything else on their personal computers. And that is a valid concern from the user perspective. So that's the VPN tunnel. Its best case scenario and its best use scenario is when the company has a laptop for the user to connect to the network so that the user doesn't have to use their home computer or a lesser computer or something to that effect. So the next thing, so we've got clients using remote screen software like LogMeIn, TeamViewer, GoToMyPC, software in that ilk. So from the IT perspective, users have access to the files, but not the entire network. So that means that they have essentially remote screen sharing to their computer. Now they do have access with like LogMeIn and TeamViewer. Those do have file plugins where they're able to access the files on their work computer, but their access is only to that work computer. It's not to the entire network. So that's a big deal from a security standpoint because the user essentially has the same permission that they have when they're in the office, which is exactly what we want. From the user perspective, if you're running LogMeIn or any of those programs, the screen resolution can be problematic. So if you're sitting, your office computer has two monitors, and you're sitting at home and you only have one monitor, you're going to have to do some things there to get the resolution the way that you want it. And because resolution is not exactly perfect, there is some lag and just, regular annoyances with working with that software. Uh, so you are able to get to files. Users are able to get to their files because they're on their work computer. Now, printing may be problematic. So sometimes if you're on your work computer and let's say you want to print to your your printer at home, it is possible, and there are sometimes it just automatically works. Other times it does not. So you may have to make some adjustments there. The flexibility in devices, so you can have a Mac at home, you can have an iPad at home, you can have a Windows 10 home computer at home instead of Windows 10 Professional, and all those things are able to use the remote software to get into your computer at the office. So you have a lot more flexibility in the devices. It can be inconvenient because if you've ever tried to log into a computer from an iPad, it's not all that great. You don't have a mouse. You can get in there and do some things you need to do, but it is way less efficient than when you're sitting in front of that computer. Our next option is remote software. We've landed on a software called TrueGrid for right now. And what we really like about it is some of the things that I talked about, the annoyances in the LogMeIn like products with the screen resolution. This takes that away, and it takes it away because the protocol is using remote desktop, and you can get things to scale properly. Like what you want to see them, and you can use the dual monitors. So from IT perspective, we like it because you have one password for the users. So if you're like LogMeIn, you've got credentials for that, and then you've got your PC, you've got credentials for that once you get on. The same with VPN, you got one VPN password. Be it may be the same as your domain password, but from the VPN standpoint, we like them to be different so that it can be multi-factor authentication. So you have to have both passwords to move on. Well, with TrueGrid, it's got a built-in multi-factor authentication. So we are using one username and password, but you have to use the multi-factor. And you have to use the multi-factor for every time that you connect. So users can work, they can get to their work computer, and they don't have access to the network. They don't get overreaching access. They have all the files that they normally have, and we don't have to buy new computers. I mean, we don't like to buy computers that are just temporary, we have to buy lesser computers. The client spends money they don't need to spend. So from that standpoint, the user's home gear will work just as well as a corporate computer. Now, from the user perspective, users like only having one password. They do like the fast experience. So it is it is a faster experience for them to get connected with the remote, and the VPN establishment of this software goes really quickly. Now, they do have some limitations as far as the file access goes. Being able to transfer files from their work computer to their home computer, that's a little more problematic, and there is no printing across that. So it's more locked down from that standpoint, and that can be less convenient. But there are ways around that, emailing files to yourself, that kind of thing. So there it is somewhat inconvenient. It does support the multi-monitor. If you have multi-monitors, if you have two monitors at the office and you have two monitors at home, you can make that span across your home computer. Now you don't have to. If you have two computers at the office or two monitors at the office and you only have one monitor at home, that's not a problem because it will just display on the one monitor. It'll shrink everything down to one, so you're not fighting that multi-monitor thing like with LogMeIn. Okay, then so all right, so this takes us to our remote cloud workstation, hosted Windows 10 workstations. This is, I mean, really, this is the best scenario where all these things come together as a long-term solution, not just a temporary solution. So I'll explain that a little further. So from the IT perspective, users have access to work from remote. They don't have access to the network, and we don't have to buy them new gear. Okay? From the user perspective, if they are logging into a remote cloud workstation every day, that it is not different for them. So they have the same experience. They're not having the loss of productivity because they don't know exactly what they're doing and they're making different moves. This is the same thing that happens every day. Now, network access. So they are in their remote workstation in the cloud with their cloud server. So they have the same file access to the files on the server that they always have. Printing is the same. They print the same way as they did yesterday. Multi-monitor. It supports the multi-monitor. Now, the one drawback of the remote cloud workstation is it is a little more expensive than all the solution. It is a greater IT investment across the board. But the thing is, so if a user has let's say they've got a laptop and they connect to they're connecting to their remote cloud workstation. If they lose their laptop or if their laptop gets broken or just dies, as soon as that user can get to another computer, then they can log into their workspace in the cloud and it's exactly the same. So it doesn't matter which computer they were on, it is their work computer in the cloud. It's fast and it's accessible from anywhere. So you don't have to worry about the office. The office doesn't matter because all these things are in the cloud. So the next thing I'm going to show you real quickly a connection to the remote workplace. It's just so you have an idea, like, well, is it slow? What is it? So I'm going to connect right now. All right, so I have already connected, and from my standpoint, if I were working on this computer every day, I just hop into my email, I just hop into my work. I can, as you can see, I mean, you're watching this being recorded, and I'm connecting to a remote desktop in the Microsoft Azure cloud right now. So as you can see, it's very quick. You can barely notice that it is um, not exactly on your desktop. So I'm opening up documents. Save it, close it, work. Browsing from the internet is fast. What's happening? So see, this is our most common recommendation at this point, if it makes sense from an investment, capital spending. While I have said it's more expensive, it's not ridiculously expensive. It used to be ridiculous that there was no way that it made sense. Now it makes sense. It just depends on really depends on the company if it makes sense for them for the disaster recovery and business continuity experience. Whoop. Okay, so if you need a hand, you can contact us at contact@sublimecomp.com. Phone number 615-942-0850. And we've also put out there a work from home report. So if you'd like to download a report, just recommended how to skin this cat, or if you need, like I said, if you need our help, feel free to give me a call. I'll give you a call, talk to you about how you're doing, what you're doing, and how we can help. So that address is www.sublimecomp.com/work from home report. All right, thanks for listening and hope you're having a great day.